Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This video is a very important video. It is about what is going on in the world today, where it matters most. I want you to keep in mind two very obvious things. One, that the devil in popular culture tries to fool you, tries to seem like the good guy, what have you, and tries to get you to commit to his ways. And two, that the Pope is complaining about the pre-existing condition of people. What's going on right now? He's saying that basically everybody but a very few people are, everyone's doing the wrong thing but a very few people. What he's actually saying is that everybody on this planet is doing the wrong thing except for my parents and I, with an emphasis on me. My parents are blameless. They're not moving masterfully like I am. I'm moving masterfully. So everyone's doing the wrong thing but my parents and I. Because the Pope, believe it or not, is not a Christian as such. He doesn't obey God. He's a Luciferian. I'm going to prove that definitively in this video. You're going to see this is not conspiracy theory. This is clearly fact. So we see that the people they're trying to make look better than other people consists of Obama, the Pope, Hillary, and to some degree, believe it or not, Trump. But to a large degree, Trump is being presented as a clown. Okay? We see that there's various people that put out complaints, but they're not very effective. They're not the type of people you'd expect people to kind of follow. And that's Newsom, Ron DeSantis, Governor Abbott, okay, Bondi, Noem, Homan, Vance, Trump's kind of MAGA regime. So they have certain complaints, and they're also, those complaints are hints here. There's also people on the lower levels you see day to day. You see also there's Democrats who complain, right? AOC, there's leftists like Bernie Sanders, may as well be a Democrat, right? Ilhan Omar, okay, Jasmine Crockett, and some others, okay? Now, these people are put on the news all the time. They're talked about all the time. A lot of people are paying attention to them, okay? They do kind of public stunts to get your attention. And that's key here. But more key is the Pope's recent speech where he said he had a vision. He's basically saying that he's a prophet and that he had a vision. He did not have a vision from God, obviously. I think most of you know that right away. He had what you might call a Luciferian vision. In a Luciferian state, he came to the conclusion that he should say things a certain way. Okay? So the video is titled, "The Final Warning to America and Donald Trump." It's on the channel Pope Leo XIV Testament. Okay, so he is giving this final warning, right, to the country and to the president. And that's fine, it's not like some kind of physical threat or something. And it actually is helping you understand what you should do, because unless you're an idiot, you know not to trust him, but you know that he's giving away a lot of the game here, a lot of what's going on here. And again, I don't play the game. I hate the game. The word game is mage scrambled. The Pope presents himself like a mage, like all the popes do, right? They dress a certain way, carry themselves a certain way, have a certain look to them. That's part of it too, right? Part of the game is the fact the word game is mage scrambled. The word image has the word mage right there, I, and the next part of the word is mage. And of course, the word game starts with the word gay. And the second word there is me. And I'm not gay. They want you to pretend to be gay if you're going to take the Luciferian path. So you have two main paths, right? It's to obey God through me and to go to heaven, or to play their game. And just like it says in Dante's Inferno, abandon all hope, all ye who enter here, right? It's very Western culture, heavy game they're playing, okay? The devil in Daniel Mouse, the devil in popular culture, what have you. So during the first 6 minutes of his speech, he talks about how Donald Trump is a tool. It's about the throne in your heart, not the throne in Washington. Okay, it's about who will govern your heart. Two paths, one going up to righteousness, one to ruin. And he talks about the hidden condition of America. Now, what's he referring to? Well, first of all, the offer that the American people are being given by the devil through those who channel the devil, worship the devil, are in occult groups and see themselves as worshiping the devil, which is a form of worshiping the devil in reality. Okay, and if you don't believe in God and the devil, right, they're trying to be evil and they're giving you this message from what they believe is the devil, right? They believe it's coming from Satan and it's coming through them. One way or another, that's important to you. Okay, and the argument being made, the offer being made to the American people is that if people of color especially accept the white man's system in a way that's more like the 90s or early 2000s with a lot of these modern white Jewish and LGBT community twists, right? The higher rate of homosexuality, okay, kissing Freemasons' butts, things like this, right? Pretending that white culture is superior, right? Think of it as kind of meeting halfway between the right and the left, right? That's the offer they're making. They want people to be quote unquote more moderate. They want more bipartisan committees. They want people to meet halfway between Freemasons and people like them in the Democratic Party and Freemasons and people like them in the Republican Party. Most people get this part. Whether or not they use the term Freemason, they understand that part, right? They're building something here. They're foolish builders. Now, if you take their offer, you are a dumbass. They themselves call the people sheep. They call them goy. If you take their offer and play the game, there is no words for how dumb you are and how much your soul is going to cook and how much the elitists are going to laugh at you and your families. You have no doubt in your mind about that, or you're missing the point completely. The offer is an offer for complete idiots. Why on earth would you accept being more enslaved than ever with the technologies of control, with the psychological tactics of control, with a more thoroughly integrated system that's expressing control over you, with all the group harassment, political harassment, and corporate harassment you've been seeing? Why would you accept more enslavement just so you could have a little bit more money maybe? Inflation hits less, the cost of living goes down a little bit, things like this. Why would you make that deal? Why wouldn't you rally to me and insist on sound economic plans and insist on giving people their rightful places? What on earth would make it so that you would take their offer? A lot of you are in groups of groups with a lot of people in them already. Some of you are millionaires, right? There's 22.5 millionaires and billionaires in America. Why would you take that offer? Why wouldn't you stand for what's right? Okay, granted, no one should reproduce no matter what. But if you do, you could at least do the next best thing and try to be as decent as you can on your way to hell. Okay, this is the reality of the situation. You might not like what I'm saying. You might want to throw a fit and say, he shouldn't be saying that. But this is the truth here. Because of what's happened, because of Isaiah 57 being right, the righteous are taken away to be spared from evil. This world is transforming into evil. And because of what they've done in the last 40, 50 years or so, especially the last 40, there's no way around that now. You can try to make the best of it and keep reproducing like an idiot, but you should still try to do the most decent thing you can do. That is the situation here. I'm not going to lie to you like the Pope lied to you. He made it seem like you could save the country in his speech, okay, because that's his Luciferian role. That's what Luciferians tell you, okay? A lot of those guys want you to keep reproducing. I don't, okay? I know for sure that God forbids people to reproduce. They're not allowed by God to reproduce. They're able to in the physical world, but God forbids them to have a child, a literal child, a flesh-based child, a physical child. He forbids them because it's immoral. We see it in Luke 23, it's alluded to. We see it in Paul's letters. Okay, we see it in the universal logic, which is more important than the Bible. More important than the Bible is universal logic. That's why the Bible is summed up in do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, how would you know how you should treat them? How do you know how you want to be treated? Logic and reason, critical thinking. And love God with all your heart. How do you know how to love God with heart? These things sum up the law and the prophets. All the law and prophets hang on these commands. How do you know how to love God and to love your logic, reason, and sense? And then when you walk in the way of righteousness, it's written all throughout the Bible. When you do what's absolutely right, it helps you understand how to do what's absolutely right, okay, more and more, in a more effective and an efficient way. So it's very important that you understand the situation and God's commands and what you're being offered by the Luciferians that govern the countries in the world, the churches, the mosques, the synagogues, right? These people are control freak fanatics. They weren't going to let any church slip, between the cracks. They made sure that they control all these things. And you should know that by now. And again, remember, two very important things. There's a lot of important things I just said. There's two very important things here. One, the devil in popular culture, okay, which is very much how they play it, right? It's hidden in plain view. He likes to make you an offer and trick you. It's not just, some punk rocker offering you drugs or some corporate guy offering you, a job if you sleep with him. It's sometimes it's more subtle than that. It's your own family offering you something. It's people who seem more believable. How do you know that I am, the Son of God? Because of universal pinpoint moral precision. Because other people have no viable counterargument. Because of my top martial arts challenge. Because me telling you things other people won't, like Marshall is marital scrambled. And I, Christ, am the bridegroom. Why do you think the word Marshall is marital scrambled? Right? Bethlehem, Beltheham, Abraham, champion, C-Ham. Pretty straightforward. That's how you know that I'm Christ. Even the word Christ has the word hits in it. C-R hits. How do you see who they are? And the word care has the word C, the letter C, then the word R. Because I'm saying see who people are. Why they're trying to get you to disassociate in what you might call the white man's construct, the neo-colonial construct, whatever you call it. Babylon's system, Babylon's magic spell, sorcery, witchcraft, illusion, deceit, versus the pure truth in reality, the way, the truth, and the life, the way in reality, not in the Luciferian, neo-colonial, white man's system. And it's not because they're white, the system actually comes from somewhere else. It comes from Africa, ultimately through the Middle East into Europe. But because they have committed, so many of them have committed to that system in a clear-cut way, and they dominate the system, the whites, the Jews, the LGBT people among the elite, that it's fair enough to say that that's their system. Okay, so keep in mind the Protestants who also were Luciferian and are Luciferian used to call, some of them at least, they used to call the Catholics Ballists. And Baal Hamona means ball of the horde. Ball of the horde, right? Them leveraging numbers. In a sense, Goliath was symbolic of a bunch of people in one person making a gigantic person, right? So, and we also see the hordes of Gog and Magog in Revelation 20 and in the book of Ezekiel. And, we get some clues as to who they are in Genesis and Ezekiel and in Revelation. And so when the Pope seems to be taking a shot at me when he says that they're elevating the tool and not the one who yields it, who wields it. It says they're elevating the tool and not the one who wields it. Now, am I in the same spirit as the churches? No. They're Luciferian. They merge with the state. Broad is the way to destruction, narrow is the way to life. They've told on themselves, because there's so many of them, so many Baptists and Catholics and Mormons and Jehovah's, so many churches, Orthodox, all over the world, right? And they got people following them basically to a T, and that's the broad way to destruction. But narrow is the way to life. Now, have I ever said that I'm magically equal, and I'm not, mind you, to God? No. God is greater than I am. God is greater than I am. I am the anointed by God. God is above me. I'm his son. I'm his right hand. But what he's saying is he wants me to pretend that I'm just another person who just happens to be, better at explaining things or more handsome or more righteous, just happens to be the top martial artist ever. And they want to be in charge and they want to use their numbers, right? It's the be-all, jack-all, right? Baal is a play on words for be-all, and the jackal is a play on words for jack-all. You see what I'm saying? So they want to use their numbers and say, hey, say you're not important, so they can then lead everyone, including me, in the Luciferian spirit. That's why the word bless is a play on words for be less. But I'm never, ever, 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 ever going to follow anyone else. I only follow God. I'm God's son. You see, I'm talking about a tree and about how the prayers are the oil and repentance is the fire. That the prayers are the oil and the repentance is the fire. But the world is also like a fire pit, like you see in Isaiah 30, verse 33, right? Topheth has been long prepared, has been made ready for the king. Its fire pit has been made deep and wide with an abundance of fire and wood. The breath of the Lord like a streaming of burning sulfur sets it ablaze. So the prayer of the righteous, like we see in Revelation 6, is part of what's in the spirit of God that sets the souls of mankind on fire, and the devil wants you to sell your soul to be destroyed so he can laugh at you and torment you inside and out. And that's what's going on here. You look at depictions of Luciferianism. One depiction they used to have on Wikipedia was Lucifer with his hands in the air, or a depiction of a man that they say is Lucifer with his hands in the air, and he's naked, and people are looking miserable, right? Look at American history. Are most people in American history miserable historically? Yes. That include people who go to the church? Yes. Look at the Klan going to the church in American history and all over the world. Look at these slaves who went to church. They were miserable to a large degree because their system is a Luciferian system. It talks about a tree. And he talks about how people's pride and this, that, and idolatry and so on and so forth. He labels certain sins as part of the problem. Basically all of them. But he twists what they are to some degree, right? So he says division, right? A house divided cannot stand, right? But whether or not you're divided in rebellion or united, it's not going to help you. You have to unite and obey God through me. I'm the way, the truth, and the life. You talk about idolatry. You're all going to be idolaters unless you obey God through me. They talk about fear and pride and hate. You know, that's, hope that is misplaced. Okay? So I'm going to have to make a part 2 to this video. But by now you should see that I'm right. I urge you to watch the video and put it on the screen. I'll probably block out the Pope's face so they can't, try to get my video taken down. This video is extremely important. And as I'm hearing it right now, I don't know how they're going to mess up the sound quality. It was a very well-made video in terms of my speaking. They do things to keep me from editing the videos and doing a good job with fancy, graphics and stuff like this, right? But the speech was well done here. And you should know that I'm right. Thank you.